Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon for November 18th, 2017. With your host, Peacebreaker2448 and Rapid Epsilon.
And guess what I just found out? Because I forgot.
What?
You know, I've got that whole little bar that fills up towards our next follower goal.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot. Every time that any kind of a notification pushes, it adds one to it. Whether that's true or not. So now I actually get to go in and fix that.
Yay!
I glanced up there and I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I forgot about that. So that'll go down for a second while I fix this.
Well, I apparently am in no rush to watch Punisher, even though it came out yesterday. I only just now watched like the first 3 episodes of it today.
I put the numbers in backwards. You gotta be freaking kidding me.
Of course!
I have... Wow. Just... Wow.
So, we have actually a good bit of news, although most of it is small stuff.
I fixed it. God, I can't believe I did that.
Okay, I got scared for a second because I thought the last 3 links were all the same thing. No, they just look like they're the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah, all the Game Informer links look like they're the same link, but they're not. Scare me there, fucking god damn it. I thought I fucked up the entire article list.
You gotta love the fact that our short link shortener loves to do stuff like that. Because, to be fair, if you look at that list, 5 of them all look like they could be the exact same link.
Yep.
And for those that don't realize, that is 5 out of 7.
Yeah, I got everything from Game Informer this week because that's the first one I check off the bot. Which unfortunately is a different bot than the bot you see in chat. No, this is the not Twitter bot that I pretty much just use as a bookmark. It has not tweeted a damn thing since I created it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we kind of would have to make it tweet. Also, perhaps I should start hosting the stream prior to us going live.
You could just put it in the auto host list.
Oh, I do. I have it at the top. But because we weren't live before Spike was, he kind of was already being hosted on mine.
Oh, so it had to swap over from Spike.
No, I had to force it over. He's doing any percent Odyssey runs.
Okay. I know he's been doing a whole bunch of Odyssey. Is it weird that during his 503 run, I'm still seeing new things for Odyssey? As much Odyssey as I've seen, I'm still seeing new things, new stars, and new stuff.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
Like, I'm sitting there in his 503 run after he beats Bowser for the last time, and he's into, like, past the any percent point and into the meat of the 503 run. I didn't realize you could literally not have to touch the Odyssey ever again.
Yep, from that point all the way until you go back to the Mushroom Kingdom, you don't have to ever touch the Odyssey. And you put like 200 and something stars in there easily.
Yeah, I had to stop to stream Namco Cross Capcom Thursday in the middle of his 503, and I'm just like, how far do you go till you not touch the Odyssey again? Because I didn't realize it was that interconnected with the paintings.
Yep.
Like,
and
damn.
To be fair, I kind of have to agree with him on it. Any percent's alright, but it kind of feels like SM64 16 star. It feels like it's short enough to justify a good run, but it doesn't really do the game justice. Whereas the
Yeah.
503 really does, and it has cool things with it. And I
Yeah.
really agree with his statement that he made about Darker Side. There
Mhm.
is a skip for Darker Side where you can essentially skip like most of the level by using one of the frogs.
Mhm.
And I kind of agree with him. It looks cooler to kind of have the big showcase of the various skips that you can do within within Darker Side as opposed to just I'm swimming through space with the frog.
Yep.
It's like, to be fair, I completely agree with him. Yes, that might cost 4 minutes of time or more if you wind up screwing it up like he did that one time. But
Mhm.
but I feel like that's a cooler feel for it. Like if I had to guess between if you were just taking that part of the run and
Mhm.
looking at it as like a GDQ standpoint, I would take his version of it before I'd take the darker skip.
Yeah. Like if you're going for time, do frog. If you're going for like style, do all the other stuff.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's a lot of cool skips and movement tech within darker side there. And it's like, you just basically say that doesn't exist with frog skip.
Mhm.
It's one of those, I feel like if you're going for world record, then yeah, that's probably going to be the norm. But I don't know. I kind of like his way better because it's like
Mhm.
that shows that gives you the true ending for the game.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the perfect run for Galaxy 2. Really,
Mhm.
it's one of those
Yeah.
that's just a cool showcase at the end of the game.
Yeah. And you get to be emotional with Cappy as he just like, oh hey, we've been on this adventure for so long, and then now it's
Oh,
over.
that part of the
Aw.
dialogue still exists whether or not you do the frog skip, but it's
Oh.
like because that's all after most of the platforming part of it.
Mhm.
And it's like, you know, yeah, I kind of feel like I wonder if they knew that skip existed cuz like that one doesn't feel like it was anything with the mechanics. It literally feels like
Mhm.
that's a glitch that's being exploited.
Mhm.
Most of the other quote unquote skips that you see in Odyssey, it's not really glitches. It's just manipulation of the movement, and that's stuff that I almost wonder if Nintendo kind of planned.
I would have to think so, considering how not glitchy, but still kind of weird oddball things you can do in like Breath of the Wild to still accomplish objectives.
It's one of those that I love the fact Nintendo has embraced the open world concept like this, and
Yeah.
at and it really feels like with both Breath of the Wild and now Odyssey, they kind of want people to just play the game. They
Mm-hmm.
don't really care what you do. It's a case of can you do it?
Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my neighbor about this because I also saw this on Twitter that Nintendo kind of is doing open world games better than a lot of other companies do, because in open world games, you're always encouraged to explore, to go like where you normally wouldn't need to go. But the problem is for some of those open world games, there's nothing there. There's just the exploration and that's it. But like in Odyssey, if you go off the beaten path and like find a shortcut, there's a moon. If you find this little small cubby hole, hey, here's a moon. Hey, you found the secret path. Here's a moon. Oh, you found the secret room we put in here. Here's a moon. Like it's always rewarding you for going off the beaten path. And
Which,
I think that
to be fair, from what I've seen, kind of feels it does, but it doesn't feel similar to Breath of the Wild. Like I feel Odyssey does it better
Mhm.
in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
but at the same time, really both games do kind of showcase that. It's hey,
Mhm.
you see something in the distance, go check it out. It might be something worth it.
Yeah. There's a reason to explore besides just, this is the kind of game it is, so you can explore, but we're not going to put anything. It's like, if open world games are a box, most open world games, the box is there, but it's only like partially filled with the stuff that's intended, like the main meat of stuff. But for Nintendo, it's like, how much stuff can we put in this box? Like, literally, can we make this box full? Because we're gonna make it, but this box completely full of stuff,
and
it's all gonna be relatively important.
And to be fair, a lot of what we're seeing out of Odyssey, I wonder if they wanted to try to do something like this with 64.
Probably.
Because if you think about it, this is really similar concepts. Because if you look at 64, there's a lot of stars that you can do earlier. I mean, for instance, look at Bob-omb Battlefield. The first level, you could do the Chain Chomp star. That's what, star 7, I think?
Yes.
And you can do that straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that it's like, I wonder if that was something they wanted to do then, but they just didn't have the technology or the know-how. And this is really what we should have wound up getting for 64. Why it's took this long, that's a whole nother story, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's he's been switching over to any percent runs, and needless to say, I'm not as interested in it. Like, I'll watch, but I mean, we're talking about little over an hour on runs. So it's good in the fact of you could grind it out and hopefully get a PB or even the world record. But at the same time, I'm still like, it just don't feel right. I don't feel like it does the game justice. Which is funny because I don't get the same kind of feeling with Breath of the Wild any percent as opposed to any of the other categories. Breath of the Wild, I feel like any percent's fine for it. And it's like, that's weird. Same type of game, but I kind of feel like one's is just fine with any percent and the other one, really, that shouldn't be an option.
It's probably because of how you go about those routes. Because for Breath of the Wild, it's kind of designed where you don't need to do all the bosses. And there's kind of this extra challenge in like just going to Ganon and like just beating the shit out of him.
And maybe that's what the draw is then.
Yeah.
Because there's really not any extra challenges with trying to just clear any percent with Odyssey. It's just do what they expect you to do and then leave.
And then with Odyssey, you see a lot more of the game.
Yeah. It's funny, I don't even have Odyssey yet, but I have a feeling when I do get it, I'll probably actually try to sit down and look at more like the 253 route. Because I don't think there's actually a solid one out yet. I mean, to be fair, Spike kind of did the 503 route.
He's just like, I'm doing 503 because fuck it.
Well,
let's do the long 4-hour route.
I do agree with him. I do feel like that one is the cooler one to have out of all of them. And truthfully, when it comes down to it, more than likely, any percent and 503 are going to be the two main categories for it. 253 might pick up, but I kind of doubt it. That might be one of those that everyone might do a run or two and then go back to one of the others.
Well, how much longer and shorter is it compared to the other two?
Well, in light of the 503 being right around 4 hours, I'm willing to bet probably 2.5, maybe 3 tops. Probably closer to that 2.5.
Okay, that might be why, because it's like at 2.5 hours, it's just like, might as well just go the extra like 1.5 and do 503.
Because I mean, if you think about it, I'm wanting to say Spike's 503 route winds up getting I'm wanting to say it's 150 something moons when he beats Bowser.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not actually the any percent route and then extra added to it. It is a little more. So you probably could go ahead and actually get. You probably could get close to 200 before you got to Bowser. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
it might could cut the two. I mean, I'd say early routing of it, it'd probably be 2.5 or 3, but it might cut the two. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I mean, 50 moons away, that's not that much.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we talk more Odyssey speedrun stuff, Tommy, you been playing anything these last couple weeks?
I think. I know. No, that was actually before the last show. I hadn't gotten back into it yet. I was going to say
Mm-hmm.
Outland, but no, I have not actually touched it again in a while. I keep meaning to, I just haven't.
I have not played that game since we streamed it.
It kind of got you salty, though.
Uh-huh.
I did figure out, though, using the alternate controller scheme is so much easier. It is so much easier to control it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh god, why didn't I know that to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think I've played a little bit of Watch Dogs.
How was your experience with Watch Dogs?
It's one of those that, I downloaded it, I kind of played it pretty good for a few days there, and that was kind of it for right now. It's one of those that I have noticed here recently. I get in a mood for that kind of a game, and then I'll want to play it for a little bit, and then the mood will kind of pass.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not gonna lie. Part of the reason I suggested for us to play Payday 2 here a little while back was kind of because, I was in the mood for a shooter. And
Mm-hmm.
why not?
Yeah. And then we end up playing the game mode that just kicks our ass. Because we didn't even know what fucking difficulty we were on.
We need at least 3 people. More than likely a full squad kind of deal.
Most likely. Consider we had like multiple bulldozers on us at every time.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, we need more than just the 2 of us.
Because any kind of a loud mission, we were screwed on. Any kind of a stealth mission, we had cameras in awkward places.
Yeah, but we do car shopping, and it's like, what? There's never a camera.
They've had to have updated that, because I swear that one, there's no way there would have been cameras at both freaking doors.
We've never had that. We've played car shop way too many times. Especially because we've had to reset it so many times.
Yeah.
Because of how subtly difficult it is. because you go into the mission, you're thinking, oh, this doesn't look that hard, and then you find out you go loud, you're screwed. So you have to stealth it. Like it never tells you that this is an optional stealth mission. No, this is a required stealth mission.
Yeah, it's one of those. Stealth is an option. Sure.
Yeah, so we've done that job so many times, and we never had a camera at that first door we always go in. That's why we always go in there, because there's never a camera. So me walking up there going like, Tommy, there's a camera here. That's just like, what?
And of course, the first one I didn't have the right skill tree.
Mm-hmm. Not only was there a camera, there was way more guards than there ever is back there.
That's difficulty. Because I've actually seen the exact same thing with Bank Heist.
Mm-hmm.
If depending on what difficulty it is, it can add more guards. So that I know is because of that. The cameras, I feel like they patched something and tried to make that harder. Because I have never seen the difficulty change how many cameras there were. I've seen them change what type of camera they are. Because Bank Heist, you get up to certain difficulties, they are like heavy duty cameras, and I'm wanting to say you can't loop them. I can't swear to that. Mm-hmm. It's either you can't loop them or the ECMs don't affect them. I can't remember which one it is. So
probably the ECMs.
It's one of those, it's like, I know there's a different grade for the cameras, but I have never seen that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dick move.
Mm-hmm. But anything else?
Honestly, no, not really.
Well, I've been streaming a good bit of stuff. RE4, which has honestly been fun. Like, I've really enjoyed streaming RE4. Although I was surprised to find out that I was super close to getting my head like chainsaw offed a couple times in that chainsaw fight. Yeah, my neighbor was telling me because he watched me fight the Chainsaw Sisters, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw a bit of the chainsaw at the corner of your screen when you dodged them a couple times. You were super close." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention to that part." Yeah, I think I'm about one stream away from it being done. And Thursday has been a variety. So I've done Namco Cross Capcom, I've done Day of Reckoning, and shit, what was the third game? The first game I did. Wow, I super don't remember.
What all have you named off?
Day of Reckoning and Namco Cross Capcom, which is the last two things I've done.
You did Beautiful Joe.
Yeah, Beautiful Joe, which kicked my sorry ass because I was on the wrong difficulty.
For some reason, I thought you had mentioned that one. That was like, wait, which ones did you mention?
Yeah. But yeah, Day of Reckoning, yeah, that's not going up on the YouTube. That's 8 copyright matches, and I don't know if it's even got a copyright strike right now. I'm letting it upload on the dump account just to see. But yeah, 8 matches. 8. I'm not streaming Day of Reckoning ever again. If I do, it's not going up on YouTube. If I do, I'm like I'm gonna figure out a way to mute all the fucking music in that game and just like, hey, here's like a 20 minutes of like Beethoven. Maybe if that won't get copyright matched, but
it probably will.
Yeah, because
didn't we have that issue before?
Yeah, with War Thunder.
Yeah.
A couple of the orchestral tracks in there get matched, which is stupid. Why are we copyright matching orchestral tracks that are this fucking old? Kiss my ass. But yeah, that Namco Girls Capcom, which was fun, but the plot is fucking nonsense, and I stopped paying attention to it after a while. I gave up.
Plot? What plot?
Yeah, especially when it kept throwing in characters I have no idea who the fuck they were. They kept talking about shit I had no idea what it was. I'm just like, I'm checking out. Bye. I checked back in for the Soul Calibur characters, which was Mitsurugi and Taki, but like Trombone, I know peripherally because of the Marvel vs. Capcom series, because she's in that mainly, from my experience. Although she's from Mega Man Legends, and I don't know. I don't know who the fuck else was there. Like you had some little kid with some demon person, and these two girls from the future, I think. Ugh. I just gave up. Wait, someone's from Dig Dug? What?
Wait, what?
Yes. What? Did we run into Taizo Hori in the stream? If so, that might be the main character of Dig Dug.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, there's what? But yeah, there's that. That's some of the stuff just goes over my head, and I just give up. It's like I know KOS MOS because I'm familiar with Xenosaga, because that's the games that were made before they made Xenoblade.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of, I think there's like a overarching Xeno franchise that Xenosaga and Xenoblade like fall into, but they're not connected, kind of like Final Fantasy. They just kind of share similar like thematic elements and little references here and there, but they're fairly pretty much separate games and separate continuities. Yeah. Other than that, I've been playing a little bit of .hack GU Recode. I got one complaint about the game, and it's kind of a complaint, and it's mostly just of the combat and how not in like it could be a lot more than it is. Because here's about the description for every encounter I've had in the game so far. I mash on the X button to do my standard combo, and I keep doing that until the enemy gets into this state that I can do a Rengeki, which is a special like boosted attack or boosted damage attack I do with one of my special moves, which how I proc Rengeki is random. Like I have no control over that state. It just happens randomly, as far as I know. And I only have the one special attack, so when I do a Rengeki, it's the exact same move over and over and over again. And this is how every encounters went in the game. Because I only have the one attack button. Like, combat could be a lot more than it is. And that's like my only complaint, is just combat is kind of boring. Otherwise, I've enjoyed it. The only problem is I lost an hour of progress because I got into a fight with someone I shouldn't have, because I was not ready and he one-shotted me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I lost an hour of progress. Because if you die, you go back to when you saved, and I did not save after I got through an hour of progress, because I didn't think I was running into someone like that. So, that sucked. I have looked into stuff involving Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and we can talk about that before the article, since the game is out, and these are not technically leaks anymore. They are more just spoilers. That's why they're not in the article list, even though I meant to put them in there.
Whoops.
Yeah, I looked through it. I was like, oh, I forgot to put this in here because it's all in one handy dandy Google Doc sheet. All sorts of information. So, what we're going to be talking about here, real quick, is some Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon differences, what's new to the game, and all of it is spoilers. So, if you are wanting to like go into Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon blind or want to not see all of this stuff, just check out the podcast for like probably a half hour. And come back, and then we'll talk about all sorts of dumb movie stuff. Or dumb video game movie stuff. So,
you know what I might can
I'm
do?
going to link. What?
I might can actually, because I've got to pull this up anyhow, take care of something that might can help us. Give me just a second.
But yeah, we have a few new Pokemon, some moves and stuff like that to talk about. So,
hold on 1 second. And boom.
I can't see the stream. So, what do you do?
The same text document I used for our release link, I just put in there Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon spoilers. So,
yay!
You have been warned.
Yes, you have been warned. So, if you got the Google Doc, or pretty much the Google Excel link pulled up, of course, spoiler warnings on the intro. We got a few new Pokemon. And by a few, I mean like, was it 5?
I don't have it up.
5 plus 2 new, like 3, 3 forms? 3 new forms, essentially?
I don't have up. Hold on.
I see an anonymous alligator, which I don't know if that's you or not. An anonymous bat, and an anonymous jackalope.
I see an anonymous jackalope, an anonymous turtle, and an anonymous bat. So
the turtle must be me. And the alligator must be you.
Must be then.
But yeah, we'll just start off with the ones we knew about. We just got the sprites here just for as a quick reference. We have UB Burst, which his proper name is, was it Blackflun? Blackflun? I have no idea how to pronounce that. All the Ultra Beasts have nonsense names, even for Pokemon. But we've got UB Burst, UB Assembly, and UB Adhesive. And we got pictures of their shinies. What we also have is an evolved form of UB Adhesive called, was it Nagadale? We have a new mythic giveaway called Zorua, which I want this giveaway. That looks really cool. It's electric type, by the way. Of course, we have our like Solgaleo and Lunala Necrozma forms and their shiny versions. And we also have Ultra Necrozma. I'll get to what the hell this is in a second.
Question.
What?
The Dawn Wings Necrozma, which one is the shiny?
The right one. The right is shiny.
Okay. I kind of like the regular one better.
Yeah, I think both Solgaleo and Lunala's shinies are red.
Yeah, and I think I like both of their regular forms better.
Yeah. Nebby does not have the best shinies.
That's what's odd.
To quote my neighbor, Ultra Necrozma looks like a goddamn Digimon, and I don't disagree with him. It kind of does.
Yep. Well then.
But just some quick actual information on some of these. The new Lycanroc form, or Linrock as I call him, it is breedable, so you can make multiple Dusk forms, but you need the giveaway, and it needs to be like 20, I think it needs to be like level 20 something, in like this 1 hour time span in order to get the Dusk form. Dusk form? Dusk form. Adhesive evolves into its Nagadale form if it knows Dragon Pulse. It just levels up and knows Dragon Pulse. Boom, you get that form.
So it turns into UBB drill.
Yep, and it's Poison Dragon. So, yay, Dragon Poison! I think that's a first. Because I don't think we have a Poison Dragon.
I'm sorry, but that design just feels too much like Beedrill.
Yeah, it kind of does. Well, it's kind of more like just a standard insect design, to be honest, and Beedrill's kind of that. So, oddly, I think it kind of pulls more from like the Ultra, or like not the Ultra, the Mega Evolution of Beedrill. You've seen that?
I probably have, but I don't remember it right offhand.
Let me see if I can pull up an image real quick. Because it really reminds me of that. There it is. Come on, let me view the image. Boop. There you go. In the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, just look at those side by side, and it's like, huh, you're very much Mega Beedrill. Especially with that shiny coloration.
Yeah. So the shiny version is UBB drill. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Assembly and Burst are Rock, Steel, Ghost Fire, as we've already know. Our Mythic Zerora is just pure electric with Voltazorb. I still like it. I still want it. Our Necrozma forms are Psychic Steel and Psychic Ghost, respectively, for the Solgaleo and Lunalas. Ultra Necrozma is Psychic Dragon. Again, I think at first. And you have to be holding the Ultra Necrozma Z, and Necrozma must be fused, or must be in this fused form to get the Ultra Necrozma. So it's a lot of steps to get to that Ultra form. So it's kind of like this weird, like Mega Evolution-esque form from the looks of it and how it works mechanically. We have 3 new moves. For Zeroza, he has Plasma Fist, which changes normal type moves into electric types, which sounds really cool. Necrozma has Photon Gazer, which does damage using either attack or special attack, depending on which one's higher. So that's a very, like, kind of odd change-up. And you have Mind Blown, which does damage, but Burst loses like half his HP. We have new Z moves. Mimikyu has a new Z move called Let's Snuggle Forever. We had a trailer for it, but like after these leaks came out, and Mimikyu just literally like traps the enemy inside of its disguise, beats the shit out of it, and then spits it out. We knew about the Kimono one, the Lycanroc one. Solgaleo and Lunala have their own Z moves for their fused forms with Necrozma. Searing Sunray Smash and Menacing Moonrays Maelstrom. And Ultra Necrozma has its own Z move called Light That Burns the Sky, which is essentially a giant ass, literally absorbs the light from everything to nuke the fuck out of your opponent. Like, it looks super powerful. A whole bunch of new tutor moves. Kind of skip over that. And also kind of skip over the moveset changes, because that's a lot of stuff that I'm not that familiar with. We have new totems. Todegi Maru, the Alolan Marowak, the Araquid, the aqua, or that water insect. You remember that? It's that thing?
Not right offhand, I don't.
Okay. And Rimboe are all totems. List of the version exclusives, which pretty much just goes, yeah, there's some legendaries you can only get in some games. I think we talked about that way before, or a few weeks back on the podcast. Some of these other features are super important. Rotom essentially has the O powers from X and Y. You remember those? So like faster breeding, faster level ups, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Essentially his Z power is that stuff. Which is kind of cool, but there's one downside. Were you ever annoyed by Rotom in the game?
Not really.
How about if he never shuts the fuck up and keeps talking to you? How would you feel about Rotom then? Because Rotom never stops talking to you. Which, from the gameplay I've seen from Tom Fox, which is on I believe, a regular 3DS, not a new 3DS, and I've seen no lag on it so far.
I thought it couldn't run on the regular 3DS, though.
It can run on a regular 3DS from what I'm hearing and seeing. Because all of the capture 3D... okay, I'll put it this way. If someone is streaming or capturing footage of it, it's on an old 3DS. Because I don't think they've put in the stuff for new 3DSs just yet in terms of capture.
I don't even think you can actually, right now, unless you find someone that's still doing it, get a 3DS with the capture equipment in it.
Yep. I tried to ask Tom Fox if he was on an old 3DS, but I think he is on an old 3DS. But yeah, it will run on an old 3DS, as far as I know. It will have lag, but it's about the same kind of lag you'd expect from Sun and Moon. Maybe a little less, actually. You got the Mantine Surf. You can use it to purchase tutor moves for your Pokemon. The Totem Stickers, which allows you to buy Totem Pokemon, which includes a Mimikyu, for those of you who want essentially a giant Mimikyu. There's only specific Totem Pokemon you can buy with the stickers, though. So it's not any Pokemon can be a Totem. It's just very specific Pokemon you can pick. And I think a couple of them you have to choose one or the other. But I think it encompasses all of the Pokemon that were totems between Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. You know the Floette that was Az's partner in the big backstory in X and Y?
Yeah.
It's in the game! I don't know how you acquire it, but it's in the Pokedex, and it has a unique entry.
Well then.
Let's see. All the beasts, all of the wormhole legendaries, and the gift Poply sent you UB Adhesive because you get him as a gift. None of them are shiny locked. And from Cerebi, I found out that not only can you get legendaries through the wormholes, you can get some select Pokemon through the wormholes as well. It's a specific list and nothing really super surprising. But those Pokemon their shininess is determined when you enter the portal. The legendaries are determined when you encounter them in the portals. So you can soft reset accordingly in order to get a shiny of whatever you're looking for. But the Necrozma, the Tapus, Cosmog, Solgaleo Lunala, our Mythic Zeraora, Zigrade, and Ash's Pikachu all locked. Which Ash has a mention in the story, apparently. Granted, I haven't gotten that many story spoilers, mostly because people have just went, here's a text document with all of the lines with every single spoken line in red line in the game. Go figure it out for yourself. And I'm like, no, I am not essentially reading a novel in order to figure out what the plot of Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon is.
But why not?
As far as I know, it's a lot of the second half of the game is different with the Ultra Recon Squad. Some characters get the better end of the changes, whereas some don't. It depends. I'll have to see the story for myself from start to finish, and I'll probably stick with Tom Fox to see that. But so far, from what I've seen, the plot isn't super different. You get your starter, you get to actually fight off a Spearow when you rescue Nebby, but but from there, the story didn't change that much. I think you encountered the Ultra Recon Squad once in the beginning of the game, and they're just like, they just kind of vaguely mention the light one, which is Soglio or Lunala, I guess, depending on your game. They're also in the start cutscene, because the start cutscene is the same, only the Ultra Recon Squad is also in there with Lily, as they're also trying to catch Lily and Nebby. So yeah, there's some stuff, but it seems like the beginning of the game is not too different, but just small little changes. The most of the stuff is going to be the back half of the game, which is what I kind of feared, because that's going to be I don't know how many people want to work through half a game in order to really get into the new stuff.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that might be a case of it might be people that skipped out on Sun and Moon to begin with.
Yeah.
As opposed to people that, like, are you and me that have actually played that first part of the game and kind of know what's to come out of it.
Yep. And like Pokemon Bank, at least is going to be up earlier because it's apparently going to be up at the end of the month. Which is cool, but you have to wait to the end of the month to transfer everything to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Right.
I would say, here's my honest recommendation for everything I've seen and everything I've heard. If you have played Sun and Moon, I would say wait for a discount. Don't rush out to get this game. I know that's kind of bad considering you're going to be missing out on a Linrock form, because the Linrock form is only a timed giveaway, but it might be given away at another point. Like, usually stuff like that is never like completely locked out. Game Freak has a good habit of like reintroducing stuff like this again and again and again. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Ash Greninja shows up again as something for like a later Pokemon game. But don't rush out to get it. If you have skipped out on Sun and Moon, go pick up Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Go pick up whichever version you want of those two. You're going to get almost the exact same experience with some new material and some new Pokemon on top of that. There's no new Alolan forms, but you're still going to get kind of the core experience of Sun and Moon. So go get it if you've skipped out. And if you don't feel like super pulled one way or the other, pick the choice you feel is more appropriate for you. That's my honest recommendation after all the stuff I've looked at. So, you ready to talk articles now?
I guess I am.
All right. Coming out of the spoilers into, well, still talking Pokemon because it's Detective Pikachu movie time. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is a thing.
I can.
Of all the video game movies we've talked about on this show, of all the ones, somehow this is going to become reality. This dumb movie.
I gotta say, I love the picture.
Yeah.
It looks like Pikachu's pissed off at someone and just really don't care anymore.
Remember, this Pikachu is lazy and doesn't know its moves because it forgot them, and is, as I think I headcanoned back when we first announced this and first talked about this, it's Pichu from Super Smash Bros. Melee.
I could see that.
Like, this is what happened to the Pichu from Melee. He grew up, became a detective, forgot all his moves, and now he's angry and terrible at his job.
No, you know what it is? PTSD from Smash.
Yeah.
No one wanted him back, so he just said, you know what? Screw it.
Yeah, my neighbor's girlfriend didn't know about this, and I just explained it to her, and she's like, she just laughed. It's like, because this sounds crazy. Like, if you don't know what Detective Pikachu is, you're in for a surprise. And here's another thing. Did you know that Pikachu talks in the new movie?
Wait, straight out talks?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Okay, that is a thing. And apparently people are super surprised and shocked by this, even though I think there have been multiple times where Pikachu's talked in the anime. Like, this is not the first time, folks. But people are super surprised and shocked. There are videos of theaters in shock and awe of Pikachu speaking lines to Ash. And I just go, if they're honestly surprised by this, I can't wait till they get to Detective Pikachu, where Pikachu talks all the time. And that's the entire plot. This Pikachu speaks English. Remember that. Like, oh my god, we are in for a ride, folks. I can't wait to see this movie because it is either going to be the biggest shock in the world or it's going to be one of the biggest messes in the world. And either one will be enjoyable.
By the way, to the question of will it be a success or a failure, the only thing I can say to that is yes.
Yes. Well, speaking of the actual article, we have a lead, a human lead. And that human lead's name is Justice Smith. Yes, this is his legitimate name, folks. He was in Netflix The Get Down, and he's going to be in Jurassic World. The follow-up to that Jurassic Park movie that came out a while back that had Star-Lord in it. I don't remember his name. Chris Pine, I think is the actor's name. I don't remember Star-Lord's actor's name. This is the wrong person. Yes, it is. That's Kirk from the new Star Trek movies. Nope. And the one guy the Trevor Scott from Wonder Woman. Chris Pratt. That's who I'm thinking of. Chris Pratt. There are too many Chris's in movies these days. Oh god, you could get a Sentai team of famous Chris's in movies right now. Literally. Also doesn't help that they all kind of look similar because they all have the short hair, bearded look. Even fucking Chris Evans is going to be having that in Infinity War for Cap.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
To be fair, though, I do want to mention this because I actually forgot about it until I just saw in the article here.
Mm-hmm.
If what was reported before about one of the creators of Gravity Falls and a writer from Guardians of the Galaxy are working on the script, it might actually be pretty good.
I would hope so.
Like, legitimately, it might actually be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is gonna be how good.
I think it comes down to we're dealing with a thing, an adaptation of this one-off 3DS like eShop title that came out in Japan only. That I'm sure half the people in the world have no idea what the fuck is.
Well, the only reason that I'm wondering how good is because What was a common thing with both Gravity Falls and Guardians?
They are both funny.
Not so much that, but
Oh.
you look, both of them played into needing additional material to continue into the story.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians kind of set up for the second one. Each
Mm-hmm.
season of Gravity Falls kind of set up for the next. It's like part of me's thinking, are we gonna have a concept where they're gonna want to try to turn this into a series of movies? And if
A
so, is
ser-
there enough content to do that?
a series of Detective Pikachu. Oh my god. I mean, we're still getting Pokemon anime movies to this day.
It's one of those, what I'm thinking would be a cool concept if they did that direction was
Mm-hmm.
maybe finding a way to kind of get him to where he maybe kind of relives a little bit about why he's forgotten his uh moves and has become lazy.
And become a detective that's probably bad at his job.
Oh god, if he's not bad at his job, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because that would just be icing on the cake at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope this turns into the Detective Pikachu is just horrible and at his job, and everyone around him is like, really? We know what it is. How can you not see the answer?
Mm-hmm.
uh, but yeah, I'm kind of like, I kind of am curious on how this works.
I I still can't believe this is a fucking thing.
Also, I just saw another line that kind of backs up my earlier statement with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The sentence of the 3DS was supposed to be episodic, but only one episode ever came out.
I wonder why.
That kind of is fueling what I just said there, though. Please tell me we're not going to turn this into a thing.
If it makes money, we're gonna turn it into a thing. I still can't figure out of like, okay, we're gonna make live action Pokemon movies. Okay, what are we adapting material of? Detective Pikachu. Okay, not the core games, not the anime, not the manga, not the Pokemon Ranger series, not the stadium stuff or Coliseum or anything else. No, Detective Pikachu is where we go to adapt material for a live action fucking Pokemon movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got the detective name right there in it. Detectives are real.
Like did someone spin a wheel with all the Pokemon games on it and it just landed on this one?
God, I hope that's what happened.
That's the part that still confuses me. I'm like, how did we end up here? How did this end up being the thing we are turning into a movie?
Also,
Like, there must be a story here.
Also, is it bad that the more that we're sitting here with this picture, the more I want to take this picture and try to do something with it for the channel?
Oh, oh, I'm sure there are plenty of gifts of Detective Pikachu sitting around here from the fucking trailers.
Oh, oh
I
god.
think there should be a gift from Detective Pikachu just screaming at people, just like just being angry and pissed off at people, just screaming at them.
Oh god.
Like Detective Pikachu has had fantastic gift material when it first came out.
I'm gonna have to go try to find some stuff. Like that's all this is gonna boil down to.
Well, moving on into what can only be described as here's a movie no one asked for of an adaptation of a video game that most people are probably not going to remember. Rampage. You know, the movie about monsters destroying cities.
Because we don't have enough of them.
We have a trailer starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I don't see The Rock right there. He dropped that part of his name, remember?
He will always be the goddamn Rock,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Don't matter what he does. That's what everyone
I'm
will
sorry,
know
you
him
spent
as.
20 years in the WWE. Like he just celebrated his 20th anniversary of WWE, of being in the WWE. Yeah, you're the Rock to a lot of people, including me. Which Broman was bringing that up because he's like, someone was surprised that like some Twitch streamer got really big, and he's just like, yeah, that guy's been doing material for like 6 years, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, some people have been doing this for way long, and for longer than you know to expect them to. Like John says he's been doing it for what, 10? I think he's in the double digits of like time he's been doing YouTube stuff. We've been doing it for what, 7?
Yeah. Actually, about
7
7
years.
and a half.
Yeah. Like we've been doing this for quite a while. And bro was rated up as just like, yeah, sometimes you have to have patience for this stuff. And I'm like, yeah. And also, it's amazing, like, what happens when you first started out. Because not even The Rock was that good. You want to know how bad The Rock's first material was in WWE? Just go look up Rocky Maivia or The Rocky Maivia's debut. And just go, this is The Rock when he first debuted. Remember that. And how god awful he was. He got booed out of the building when he first debuted. Because you know what he was?
What?
Just smiling, happy, babyface heel, happy to be here. Yeah, it's amazing to go, that was Rock. And also, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what he was when he first started out in WCW?
What?
He was Stunning Steve Austin, and he had actual hair at the time. I don't know what his gimmick was, but it's like, yeah, Austin started in WCW. Hell, Taker was in WCW for a hot minute as well. It's just one of those things. It's just like, wow, these people were not in WWE. We're not just solely in WWE. It's just they made their name in WWE because WCW didn't do shit with them. Hell, the Big Show was in WCW to start with. And guess who he had his second match ever with?
Who?
Hogan. In the main event for the title. His second ever career match was against Hogan for the belt. Was it for the belt? I think it was for the belt. But yeah, we could look at the trailer for this, but it doesn't really tell us much more than, yes, the Rock's best friend is Gorilla, and apparently he gets infected with something, and it makes him grow big and get angry and start to try to kill people. And then there's this big wolf that tries to kill people, and they have to stop them. And hey, there's the hint of the alligator monster at the end of the trailer. It looks really dumb. It comes out next year on the 20th of April.
It honestly sounds really dumb.
Yes. And to think we're not done with movie news this week. But we're going to take a break and talk about EA. You know how Star Wars Battlefront 2 has pay-to-win nonsense?
You mean, do I know how most EA games have pay-to-win nonsense? Yes.
Well, Battlefront 2 does not have pay to win nonsense because they took that out for now.
So that means it'll be back bigger, worse, and worse than it was to begin with.
Yeah, after having the most downvoted Reddit post ever and having a terrible AMA, DICE has made the executive call of pulling the ability to buy the loot boxes in the game with crystals, which only slightly makes the progression system better, even though the progression system is still tied to the loot boxes. And now it's just a long ass grind to get the stuff you need and want out of the loot boxes, which I found out that those loot boxes are even worse than I was hearing.
You know why
Because
they're doing it like this?
Overwatch?
No. Why they're
Oh.
turning off the microtransactions?
Oh.
It's to prove a point. It is such a hard grind to actually do it without doing the pay to win concept. So they're proving it to people. What's going to happen is when everyone's complaining about that, they're going to be like, well, we'll turn microtransactions back on. You watch.
What happened to just having a standard progression system?
That doesn't make money. I mean, you're already paying $60 for the game, so you want to spend more money on the game to play it properly, correct? It's one of those.
No.
It's one of those microtransactions never should be in a game that you have to spend money for. Just period. If I say that just period because we even went through this with Payday 2 here a while back. They offer DLC. If the DLC's not making enough money, bump the price up a little bit to make it. Do the same with this. If 60's not enough to make it, bump it up a little bit, but make sure it's worth it when you're bumping it up that little bit. No one's going to complain if they feel like $70 is legitimately worth buying the game. The issue here is people don't really feel like the game's worth $60, and then they're wanting them to pay more to actually get the full $60 worth of game. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. What I was going to say earlier about the loot boxes. Not only are the loot boxes the only way to get the things that you need to upgrade your abilities and to get new abilities for all of your characters, not only do you have to pay, not only are the heroes not in the loot boxes, you have to pay credits to get them, and those are a good bit of credits. I think before they dropped it by 75%, it took 40 hours of grinding to unlock Darth Vader. 40 hours. And that's in multiplayer because you're capped on the amount of credits you get in arcade mode, which is just the versus bot stuff. And that included all the campaign credits you got, which also have been cut by 75% when they did the whole cut the prices of the heroes by 75%. Wonderful. But you can also get a star card abilities for heroes you don't have. And you know the game mode where you can play as the heroes versus the villains?
Yeah.
If you don't have any heroes to play with, you can't play that game because the heroes you have can be picked. You can't play as duplicate heroes in that game mode. Oh my god. Do I need to stream the original Battlefront 2 to show this is how Battlefront used to be before EA got its fucking hands on it and turned it into garbage?
Well, I mean,
do I need to stream that?
To be fair, we've already kind of established the fact that this is Star Wars Battlefield. They named it wrong. Instead of trying to make it its own game, they love trying to make it like what they've already got, and it's like that. No. One of those, you might have people fooled with your other games about microtransactions, and it, I guess, working because you keep trying to do it.
Yeah. And here's the thing about the Starfighter mode. I'm not completely sure on how the Starfighter mode goes, but Starfighter mode is in the original Battlefront 2. And there's an extra advantage of the Starfighter mode in Battlefront 2. You can land your ships inside of your enemy bases and destroy shit on the inside as well as the outside. Like, you literally have a transport ship that is designed to land into the enemy's hangar for you to spawn in and fight it out in enemy hangars. I don't think you can do that. It's only the ship combat, and that's it.
And from what we were seeing, it kind of puts you in the mindset of how the tank mode of War Thunder is.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can randomly be placed in the sky battle.
Yep.
So it's one of those that I'm almost wondering if they didn't pattern this off of other games.
Yeah. Instead of, in classic Battlefront 2, where you spawn in your capital ship's hangar, and then you pick one of the ships that just keeps spawning in the hangar, and you just take off from there. Because, you spawn safe, and then you fly out into combat.
Well, like I said, EA for you.
Yeah, apparently I need to stream original Battlefront 2.
It's one of those, EA looks at it and is like, okay, how can we do this like we've done every other one of our games? Instead of looking at it as, okay, how can we do this game different? And then everyone wonders why they wanted this on EA.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't know why. It doesn't help the fact that EA is really only known for their sports titles because they screw everything else up.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? It gets better, because guess who EA has bought now?
Maybe another studio that might actually can help them.
They have bought Respawn, which means they own Titanfall now. You know how everyone liked Titanfall 2 when it came out? Let's see how long that lasts.
So, how long before we have Battlefall?
God knows.
Or Titanfield, whichever way you want to mash them up, because it's going to be that for the next one.
Isn't it appropriate that EA's Battlefront 2's story mode that never existed in the original Battlefronts, and I don't know why the fuck people were clamoring for it, even though Battlefront never had a story? I think the only Battlefront that had story mode was the PSP one. And guess who that followed?
Who?
The Rebels. I think the PSP had a story mode. But yeah, no, the Battlefront 2 story mode, it follows the Empire, and it doesn't even end properly. Spoilers, by the way. It doesn't even end properly. It doesn't even have an ending.
Oh, so then there'll be a Battlefront 3 then.
Yep, and you know how they prop up the Inferno Squad and Iden so much?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's only like half the campaign. The other half of the campaign, you're playing as the classic hero characters of like Luke, Leia, and Han and Lando. And it's not even that good when it's with Inferno Squad. Yeah, the story mode's not that good. And people are still excited for Battlefront 2, and I'm just like, even as a fan of Star Wars, I can't buy into this. I can't. As a fan of not only Star Wars but the original Battlefronts, I just have to look at this and shake my head and go, no. What Pandemic did was way better and is still available and still played online than your nonsense. Like, you can still play the original Battlefront 2 online on PC. And it's like $10 on Steam.
It's one of those that EA loves to influence everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they have absolutely no creative influence. No, let me rephrase that. They have absolutely no creative.
So they're like WWE's creative team.
At least every so often with them, they can come up with something.
Yep.
EA just, no. Like, even when they grasp for something that should work, and I'm talking about Battlefield Hardline for anyone, they still manage to fall short.
Yeah.
And it's like, how?
And that, I believe that was Visceral's last game. Also, by the way. Yeah. Well, I have bad news.
Oh boy.
Supremely saddening bad news. You remember Marvel Heroes, right?
Yep.
Well, as of November 15th, it's gone.
So as of Wednesday, I think that was.
Yep.
Yep. Yay, I was right. I've been off on my days for a while. So
Marvel Heroes is being shut down because Disney cut ties with Gazillion Entertainment. So goodbye, Marvel Heroes. Which means goodbye, the last thing that like kept going the X-Men Legends Marvel Ultimate Alliance style of gameplay that was kind of good. You know, as much as I'm sad to see this, I'm also not surprised.
I'm kind of not
It's
either.
not like Marvel. Yeah, Marvel Heroes wasn't that popular. Granted, none of the Diablo style Marvel games were ever that popular. So, bye Marvel Heroes. I'll miss you. Damn it. Well, it's time for more movie news. You know how Nintendo and Universal have been in talks with stuff?
I figured it was about that one.
Yep. And you know how they have all that theme park stuff they've been doing?
Uh-huh.
Well, they're now talking about doing a Super Mario animated movie. But I have some bad news.
Okay.
Guess what part of Universal is currently attached to this?
Which part?
Yeah, you know the part that does the Minions movies?
Okay. To this, I'm going to point out one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Rabbids and the Minions are kind of about on the same intelligence level.
Yep.
Look how well Mario and Rabbids turned out.
I think that's because Marvel kept your Ubisoft in check on that one.
You mean Nintendo? You said Marvel.
Nintendo, yes.
If Marvel did, then wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I say that. Okay, you say that, but from most of the stuff we were seeing, they kind of let them do what they wanted to because they were surprised at how well Ubisoft did keep true to Mario at its roots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, I feel like if that same kind of agreement's understood here, and they see, okay, well, this did work out for Ubisoft because they respected Nintendo enough to not try to screw with their IP, we might see something good come out of this.
Maybe.
Like, I could see this turning out all right. Granted, I could also see this turning out to be a train wreck. Don't get me wrong. But in light of the last thing that we had that had everyone like, there is no way this is going to work, and then it turned out really good, it's like, okay, maybe. I'll give it a shot. After seeing that, I'm far more willing to be open about this one.
Now, the question is, what's going to be the plot of the movie?
Really? I think at this point we already know what's going to happen here. There's
Like, are we going to play it straight, or are we going to, like, try to change it up?
at this point here, we're either going to have a straight out Mario movie, meaning that Bowser has some kind of a scheme and it's pretty much going to be similar to how a lot of Mario games are. Or we're going to have some kind of clever mashup that maybe introduces something new into it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hope for the first one. And I kind of hope that if they go that route, they do kind of take like a Odyssey route where we kind of see a bunch of different puzzle pieces working together.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You know, I'm still surprised no one has written that fanfiction that is Peach's journey post-game there. Still waiting on that. Well, we got one last thing to talk about and something else to mention that you brought up that I also didn't put in the articles list. My bad.
Oops.
Yep. You remember the Game Awards, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's that time of the year again. It's time for Game Awards, which means we got all sorts of wonderful nominations for various categories. And you can vote on every single category. And apparently Game Informer is on the jury for this. So, Game of the Year! We've got Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Plunkbat, Persona 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Okay.
It could be the newness, but I'm still kind of feeling like Odyssey might have that one.
If it's not Odyssey or Breath of the Wild, I'll honestly be surprised.
I honestly feel like Odyssey's going to take it because, like I said at the beginning of the show, I feel like Odyssey did better than what Breath of the Wild did. But I do agree with you, it's going to be one of the two.
My heart's going to hold out for Persona 5, but it's not going to happen.
I just don't feel like it will.
Persona 5 will win something here, goddammit, but it's not going to be Game of the Year. All right. Best Game Direction. Wolfenstein 2, RE7, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Narrative. We've got What Remains of Edith Finch, Nier Automata, Hellblade, Wolfenstein 2, and Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know why Persona 5's not here for Best Narrative. Honestly, I would think Automata or Hellblade should get that one.
Yeah, that's kind of the... I'm kind of feeling like Automata might take that one.
Best art direction: Destiny 2, Cuphead, Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm kind of partial to Cuphead or Persona 5 on that one. Because I feel like if you're going to do art direction, it's a lot of art about art style as well. And
Right.
like, at least 3 of the games here are not photorealistic games. And 2 of them have very much their own art style they're doing. And the one that isn't is Breath of the Wild.
I kind of think Cuphead might take that one. Like, in
Yeah.
all seriousness.
All right. Best score / music: Destiny 2, Cuphead, Nier Automata, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, or Persona 5.
Ooh.
Persona 5 should take this. I'm going to be honest. Its music is really fucking good.
I'm a little biased here, and I think Odyssey might. But at the same time, I'm like, ooh, Cuphead actually had some good music in it too, so it's like, eh.
I'm going to put it as a numbers game and say that Persona 5 probably has the more memorable music than Cuphead, at least.
I mean, if we're going off of that, then Odyssey probably has more memorable music pieces than Cuphead. But
yeah,
it's one of those. It's like,
I think if you're gonna pick, if you're gonna do like a best score music, you have to go. All right, how many good songs are here? It should not be just about like which of these has a really good song. No, it's how many good songs are there.
Yeah.
And Persona 5, I think it's like up and down. I think it's almost in its entire soundtrack is good. Best audio design: Destiny 2, Hellblade, RE7, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
I'm surprised Sonic Mania didn't wind up in Best Music one.
Yeah, poor Blue Blur. Getting just shafted.
That's one of those that it just hit me, and I'm like, I am honestly surprised that one didn't.
Mm-hmm. Audio design I think would be more in-game stuff than it is soundtrack, since it's a separate category, and that one I'm not sure.
What's bad is I only know about 2 of them, so I kind of can't make a good call on that.
Yeah, I mean, if Cuphead was in here, I would really vote for that just because of the authenticity of its sound design, kind of like getting the sound right for the style of game it is.
Yeah.
But since it's not here, it's hard to say. Because I feel like that's what audio design is when we're talking about like with Cuphead. It's just like how authentic it sounds as like that old cartoon style of game.
I mean, another way that you might could look at it, and this might put Breath of the Wild up closer to it, is look at how the audio in the game is actually done. You can about figure out how like how far enemies are, where different things are happening. It actually could make you more feel like you're in the game. So that one might put it up there close, but like I said, I don't really know about over half of these games, so it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Best performance: Melina Jurgens. Not sure how to pronounce that last name, as Senua. Laura Bailey as Nadine Ross from Lost Legacy. Claudia Black as Chloe from Lost Legacy. Brian Bloom as BJ from Wolfenstein 2, and Ashley Birch as Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. I kind of odd that like more voice actresses are nominated this year than voice actors, but I'm trying to think of who else could be nominated for this category. Because I want to say like maybe somebody from Persona 5, maybe, but there's a lot of more like text dialogue in there than vocal dialogue sometimes, so might rule them out.
Yeah.
Uh,
We've honestly not had too many voice acting heavy games come out this year.
Yeah, maybe 2B and 9S, or 2B or 9S from Nier Automata. That's the only thing that's coming to mind at the moment. There's not much in the performances that are noteworthy from Breath of the Wild or exist in Odyssey. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unless we want to talk about Zelda's kind of bad British accent.
We don't want to open that door again?
Yeah. All right. Games for Impact. We have Please Knock on My Door, Night in the Woods, Life is Strange Before the Storm, Burn Me, My Love, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Hellblade Senwa's Sacrifice. I'm not sure. There's options there that I know about, and some I don't.
Yeah.
And all the ones I know are pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
We got Best Ongoing Game now. So, which should just be Best like multiplayer game, to be honest, because all of these are multiplayer games. Warframe, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, Grand Theft Auto Online. I don't know why that's just not listed as Grand Theft Auto 5, because it's the exact same fucking game. Destiny 2, and Plunkbat.
I feel like it's going to come down to Destiny 2 and Plunkbat. Overwatch might have just barely narrowed by if it takes it, but I feel like it's going to come down to them too.
Yeah, I'm kind of cock my eyebrow at Warframe and why it's here, and a little bit on Rainbow Six Siege. Like, why isn't there like League or Dota or Counter-Strike here? Because I think those are far more popular games than both Warframe and Six.
But have any of them had major updates this year? I mean, outside of the runes, League really hasn't done anything to get major attention.
True.
I'm wanting to say Warframe and Siege both have actually had pretty major updates that have kind of brought them back in the light a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be why. That, or maybe they didn't want to put games like that in there because, they do tend to just kind of dominate whatever they're in.
True.
Because case in point, put League in any of these categories, whether it belongs there or not, and chances are it's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone knows about it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it might be a combination of trying to keep it unbiased.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, like I said, I don't really think League's had anything like just game changing come out except for the runes.
And that was like probably that was even that thing got introduced after these announcements went up.
Right. Well, no. They did announce it before.
Right.
Because we've actually known about it for a while, but it didn't go live until after.
Yeah. All right. Best mobile game. Not best handheld, best mobile. We got Super Mario Run, Old Man's Journey, Monument Valley 2, Hidden Folks, and Fire Emblem Heroes. I only know 2 of these games, and they're both the Nintendo ones.
Same here. And that's kind of making me lean towards it might be one of them too.
I feel like Heroes because it feels like a Fire Emblem game on mobile. Even though it does have some very odd choices with it. Especially with how much the weapon triangle plays more into battles than it normally should. The damage scaling on the hardest difficulty stuff. some of the troubles with getting the proper heroes you need for some of that stuff, the very bad grindy nature of the game.
I'm gonna say this. I could legitimately see either one of them taking it.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly Super Mario Run might squeeze ahead simply because of the new mode they added in.
Mm-hmm.
But if it don't, then I wouldn't be surprised that something else would have won either, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, best handheld. Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, Monster Hunter Stories, Metroid.
Wow.
So, somebody added a Y in here for no reason.
Wow. All I gotta say to that.
Ever Oasis in Fire Emblem Echoes. I'm pulling for Echoes. It's not going to be Echoes.
I feel like it's gonna be Samus Returns.
Yeah, most likely. Mostly because it's the most standout one here.
Like, if it don't, then maybe Echoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it don't, I'll probably be surprised on that one.
And here's one weird thing about these awards. These awards are for this year, right?
Yes, I believe.
Persona 5 came out last year in Japan, and I think Monster Hunter Stories also came out last year in Japan.
But it didn't come out last year here. It came out this year here.
Yeah, I know. That's just the weird thing. It's like Persona 5 was out for a year plus before we got it stateside.
See, that will be one thing that'll wind up changing actually with this console generation because you look, all of them are region free now.
Mm-hmm. Best VR AR, Super Hot, Star Trek Bridge Crew, Lone Echo, Echo Arena, Farpoint, and RE7. Okay, I almost want to discount or disqualify Super Hot and RE7 because neither one of those are straight VR AR games. Those are games that have VR optional, or they're VR optional. So they're not the best showcase of VR stuff because they're not designed for VR. Like, if we're going to talk about best VR AR game, it should be a game that is designed for a VR headset that can only be played with a VR headset. And you can play Super Hot and RE7 without a VR headset.
Yeah.
So, Star Trek Bridge Crew, because it's the only one I know out of the three from there. Granted, its gameplay is not really the best showcase of VR stuff. Granted, I don't think we've truly gotten the best VR games we could get because, well, we're still trying to figure out how to do really good VR games, I think.
You know what I think it boils down to? Nintendo hasn't thrown their hat in the ring.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, the reason I say that is because you look, when the Wii came out, that's when we wound up with the Kinect and the PlayStation Move. Which of the three was the most popular?
The Wii?
Exactly.
Because nobody did anything really with the Kinect, and super nobody didn't do anything with the Move.
And everyone that did do something with the Kinect didn't function properly enough to actually do that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that I almost feel like no matter what we're seeing until Nintendo decides it's a good idea to try to jump in the VR AR arena, it's probably not gonna, we're probably never gonna see it get pushed to its limits. Once they jump in, then we'll start seeing everyone pushing it to its limits.
Yeah, and it's not like the VR tech's good. Like, I'll quote Jibomb here when they were looking at one of the VR headsets, I think it's half a year to almost a year ago now. The tech is good for VR, Like, there's good tech there for VR headsets between the Vive and the PlayStation VR and all that other stuff. It's good tech. The problem is there's nothing good on those headsets right now. Nothing good game-wise.
Yep.
And if there's nothing good to play with these headsets, there's no reason to get these headsets. And just porting a game is not going to be enough. Like, just making VR modes for something like Super Hot in RE7 is not enough to make headsets, like VR headsets, viable. Like, we need things that only can happen on a VR headset. And if you don't believe me, ask the Wii U. The Wii U died because there wasn't enough things that you could only get on Wii U. Or not just get on Wii U only, but also things you could optionally get on Wii U. Like, that's why it died.
Yeah.
But moving on, we have Best Action Game with Prey, Neo, Destiny 2, Cuphead, and Wolfenstein.
Ooh.
4/5 of these games are shooters. Like, shouldn't this be Best Shooter category?
Who?
Or no, 3/5 of these games are shooters, my bad. Neo's not a shooter, it's a Dark Souls game.
Who?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Best Action Adventure, we have Uncharted Lost Legacy. Why are we counting DLC? Or wait, okay, no, I can't say that because Lost Legacy did get a standalone release. So it's technically not DLC. It did get a box standalone release. So that's okay. Assassin's Creed Origins, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Why do I have a feeling Nintendo's gonna dominate just because it's Nintendo?
What's bad is I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, all I can say is Nintendo better prepare a lot of acceptance speeches.
Mm-hmm. All right. Best role-playing game. South Park, Final Fantasy 15, Divinity, Nier Automata, and Persona 5. Okay, I have one problem here. And I think it's because a game is in the wrong category. Okay, Nier Automata can be technically classified as an RPG, yes?
Yeah.
But shouldn't it be in the action game category, not in the RPG category? Like, it's more action game than it is RPG.
But I mean, it's a Square Enix game, so it's it's a RPG.
But it's more action game than RPG.
But Square helped make it, so no, it's RPG.
It's like Neo. Yes, Neo is RPG, but it's more action game than RPG, so it's in the action game category. It's just weird.
Okay. There's a reason why we quit fooling with this. Just saying.
Yeah.
To be fair, so far this seems like a better list than what we normally have to go through.
Yeah. I hope Persona 5 wins something. If it does not, I'm going to cry because Persona 5 deserves something awards-wise because it's a really good game.
To be fair, I think it might take the RPG one right there. Because, like, out of those, yeah, I could see that one happening.
Mm-hmm. All right. Best fighting game: Tekken 7, Needhog 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Injustice 2, and ARMS. This is the first time ARMS has been mentioned.
Oh man, the biased part of me wants to say ARMS, but the truthful part of me wants to say Injustice 2.
Yeah, I feel like Injustice 2 is probably the better game, to be honest.
Like that,
I'm not sure
that's one of those, personally, I would like to see ARMS take it, but yeah, it's going to be Injustice 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure on Tekken 7, and especially not on Nidhogg 2, but I feel like Injustice 2 is probably the better game. Definitely in comparison to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Best family game. Splatoon
Why?
2. Sonic Mania finally showing up.
Sorry, I had to say it. Why are we marking Splatoon 2 as best family game? There's not even local multiplayer for the game. You have to have
because we
multiple
don't have a
consoles.
shooter category, I think. Yeah, we don't have a shooter category at all.
Okay, I see a best multiplayer category.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mario and Rabbids, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and again Odyssey. Best strategy game: XCOM 2, Tooth and Tail, Total War, Halo Wars 2, and Mario and Rabbids. Let's go, XCOM 2! I believe in you!
Also, I want to make a comment on something about best family game. And I feel like that's the only reason Splatoon's there. Every freaking game on that list can be played on the Switch.
Yeah. Just like every handheld game can be played on the 3DS. Because there's been nothing stand out on the Vita for a while. I think the last standout thing I can think of that came out on the Vita was Persona 4 Golden. And that's been a while.
That one, to be fair, I can understand. The handhelds kind of just have been dominated by the 3DS, but you can't tell me hasn't been any kind of decent family games that have came out on any other platform. I'm almost feeling like that's the only reason Splatoon 2 is in that list.
Best sports/racing game. I don't know why we're combining these into two, but okay. We've got Project Cars 2, Pro Evolution Soccer 2018, NBA 2K18, GT Sport, Forza 7, and FIFA 18. I have problems with us combining sports and racing into one category. Because
yeah,
what's your criteria on that one then?
Like, why isn't this just split?
Or why not just do racing games, since sports is hard to define, since sports is a wide variety of things gameplay wise. And honestly, how many sports games will we be having a conversation with that aren't just done by EA or done by 2K?
Yeah. At that point, you might as well just go ahead and hand 2 awards out, one to EA and one to 2K, and just say, okay, here.
Yeah. Like, we have Pro Evolution Soccer, but that's the only other soccer game, because you either do a realistic sports game or you maybe sometimes do an arcade sports game. Or you have a game that is sports, but it's more fantasy, like what was it that Ty was streaming like months ago? That was the game about getting the ball into the goal on the other side. But the team is a 3. I don't remember what it's called.
That one, then.
Yeah. Like, Ty streamed it, and that's technically a sports game, but like, it's more fantasy sports because it's not like an actual sport, which is what we kind of end up with here sometimes.
Because honestly, that's one of those, sometimes when I see Ty streaming a game that I know nothing about, I'm like, do I want to tune in? And then sometimes I'll see something else and I'm like, I'll watch this for right now.
I follow too many people. I have too many things. Too much variety of things.
However, too. I keep finding myself every time he streams Eternal that I will tune into it.
I actually rarely watch him play Eternal.
I don't understand why either. Because it's one of those, it's like, to a point, I kind of want to get into the game, but at the same time, I'm like, I really don't want to learn all the ins and outs of the game.
Mm-hmm. I do watch way too much Record Keeper from Sly 09 and V Prisoner. For someone who has stopped playing the game, I started playing the game again because of them, and I have stopped playing it since then because I really stopped caring about it.
Again.
Yes, because I was just like, oh, right, I forgot. This is why I stopped playing it. I was pretty much stalled. Because I don't put money into this to get new weapons, to get new soul breaks, to actually do more of the higher level content. I've stalled. I hit the wall, and I don't want to pay. So, but I like watching them because I like watching all the high level content and seeing all the fancy stuff they can do. Because their philosophy of doing the high level content is, we're going to do nonsense if we can. Whereas Wandering Newbie, who's another Final Fantasy Record Keeper streamer I follow, his is I limit myself on what I can do. All right, best multiplayer: Fortnite, some COD, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Destiny 2, and Plunkback. So we have one game with an optional battle royale game. Your standard COD, Splatoon, Mario Kart, Destiny, and the battle royale game that started the battle royale craze. I'm not sure what to think.
As much as I like Splatoon 2, I feel like this is either going to be Plunkbat or Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Like, I really even think Fortnite's just out of the picture there. Because from what I've seen and from what we've played, really the PvE stuff isn't as fleshed out as it should be. So, I mean, if we're talking about game as a whole, then yeah, Fortnite probably should be thrown out for right now. If we're only considering the Battle Royale part, then maybe give it a shot, but I still think Destiny 2 or Plunkbat's got that one.
All right. Most anticipated game: Last of Us 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Monster Hunter, Spider-Man from Insomniac, and Dad of War. It will always be Dad of War. Do not correct me otherwise. I don't know. It's hard to say because two of these games we've seen barely anything for. One of which we haven't even seen gameplay for. But the other three we have seen gameplay for. And oddly enough, the one we've seen the most gameplay for is Dad of War. So I'm not sure how to feel.
World is the one that's going to come out on the PS4, isn't it?
Yes, it's the PlayStation 4 one. Cross is the 3DS one that we're not getting stateside. We have seen plenty of gameplay for World.
I think it might take it. If it don't, then Dad of War would take it, I would think.
Yeah. As much as I want to give love to Insomniac, they may not win this.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Best independent game: Pyre, which is the game I was thinking of that Ty streamed. Night in the Woods, Cuphead, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Hellblade. It's hard to say because I'm not sure what your criteria for best independent game is besides what's the best game here. Because, also, I'm not sure if I want to call Hellblade an independent game because I'm not sure how you judge Ninja Theory as an independent team. Because they're a fairly high-profile studio. Like when I think independent studio, I'm thinking lower profile, like not attached to any major companies really. And Ninja Theory did work on a Nintendo game. And they're responsible, I believe, if I'm remembering right, for the DOA franchise. Yeah, they've worked on Disney Infinity. Nope. Oh, they did the new DMC, the one that nobody likes. And like Heavenly Sword and Enslaved, so kind of, but like they're probably the more high profile studio here. Or the most high profile studio, so we got Best Student Game. Meaning, Level Squared, Implosion, Falling Sky, Hollowed, and From Light. I guess you have to look at the website for all of these. But that's cool.
Yeah.
Trending Gamer. We have Able Games, Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, Half Coordinated, and What's Good Games. I say vote Half Coordinated. Because he's shown up he's a really good speedrunner and seems like a really nice guy. So I'd say vote him. Best esports game: Rocket League, League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, Overwatch. Why are some of these not in best ongoing game?
Like I said, because esports scene kind of would get competitive about making them win more than one.
Okay, then how do you define ongoing game if we're not talking about esports?
More than likely, the way it was looking, anything that's had any kind of major updates within the year.
Okay.
Because really, come to think about it, now that I'm thinking about it, you could classify Rocket League, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I say might is because of the Switch release.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, that's kind of a lose.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, out of that category, that's going to be a tough one to call.
Yeah, I'd say just about anything can win that one.
Like, I mean, if we went off of Twitch numbers, League's got it.
Yeah.
But if we go off of being serious about it, then yeah, I think anything about would have that one.
Best esports player: Kurokai from Dota 2, Rujing Hong from Overwatch, Nico from Counter-Strike, Cold Zera from Counter-Strike, and Faker from League of Legends. I don't know. I don't follow any esports scene besides League, and I really don't follow League these days. So, Best esports team: Team Liquid, SKT1, Lunatic High, FaZe Clan, and Cloud9. I know what Glock's vote here is. Best debut indie game: Slime Rancher, Mr. Shifty, Hollow Knight, Golf Story, and Cuphead. Shouldn't this be best debut indie company, kind of, since we're more talking about the company in this case than the game? It's really mixed here.
Yeah.
Also, since the Game Awards are being sponsored by, I think, a Chinese company, best Chinese game: Monument Valley 2, JX3 HD, Gumball, Icy, and King of Glory.
I can honestly say I've not heard of any of them.
Probably because all of them are only available in China.
So guess which one probably won't get many votes.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll take
no,
one person to go ahead and make a meme out of one of those in order for it to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no mention of any of the reveals, but I believe Jeff Keighley said expect the unexpected, which I forgot who said on Twitter, something really random. And it's like, there, I expected the unexpected. You're not going to do this thing because this thing's really obscure. I forgot who it was. But yeah, no mentions of what reveals we're going to be looking at. So I think it's probably the only thing we're going to really talk about after December 7th is the reveals.
Sounds about right.
Otherwise, it'll just be, hey, this won this, and that's kind of it. I think that's really the only thing people turn into the Game Awards for, because it's like, I think other video game awards shows have a lot more credibility to them than Game Awards. Just because the Game Awards have had a very spotty history. Very, very spotty history. So their credibility is not that good.
I think very spotty history is an understatement.
Yeah, I think GDC's award ceremony or end of year award ceremony has more credibility than Game Awards. And that one, I don't think even gets broadcasted. But yeah, the thing I forgot to put in the articles, you might pull up something on your end since I think you still have a link to it. Or I might just scroll up in chat because I do not have a link to it in chat. I figured it was still in the staff chat.
I don't remember.
Did you message it to me? No, you didn't message a link to me. I think you just told me about it, and I looked up an article myself. But Nintendo recently filed for new trademarks for various.
Yeah, I never did have a link.
Yeah. I did find an article talking about it that said it was new trademarks. But it was for Smash Brothers, Legend of Zelda, the new Animal Crossing mobile game, and I forgot what the last thing was. Amiibo. Just Amiibo in general. Nothing specifically has come out of this yet, but it could be hints to things maybe coming, maybe not. Depends. Who knows? That's kind of the problem with this is it might be a clue to the future, but it might also just be standard business stuff. It's hard to say.
And I do also want to mention that I can't remember what else I saw, but where else I saw it, but wanting to say there may be possible Metroid Prime 4. I'm wanting to say it's a gameplay come the beginning of the year, so that might be something the January Direct has in store for us.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like I think we talked about this either last time or the time before that there's nothing really announced for the Switch past December. Like once we start the new year, there's like nothing we know about.
And I actually got to thinking about something. We actually have a Kirby game and a Yoshi game that I had forgot about.
Yeah.
So they kind of have left those just completely under the radar. Not so much the Kirby one as they have the Yoshi one, so I'm wondering how close that one might be. It's possible we might have that coming beginning of 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, there's games we know that are coming to the Switch, but we don't have release dates for them. But again, we know nothing of what's happening next year. Not for Switch, not for Amiibo. We literally all the Amiibo we know should be out by the end of the year. Because pre-orders for the Shovel Knight Amiibo have went up now. And are up now. And I think they're releasing before the end of the year.
What I'm willing to bet is we're either going to get a Smash 4 port or we're going to get a new Smash. And we'll probably start hearing stuff about that beginning of next year. If it's a port, we might hear it towards like next month kind of deal.
Yeah.
But if it's a new game, it probably will wait until next year.
Yeah, that'll probably be like a big surprise reveal for E3 if it's a new game. If it's a port, I don't think they're going to put that much hoopla about it. But it's like, hey, here's Super Mario Brothers or the Super Smash Brothers for Switch. And it's just everything from the 3DS and the Wii U one on Switch with maybe new characters.
I think if they go that route in terms of with new characters, I think we'd probably see return of characters that didn't make it into Smash 4 from Melee and Brawl.
Yeah, I would say top of that list is going to be Ice Climbers, considering how much we knew Ice Climbers was close, or how close Ice Climbers were before they got cut.
Well, seeing as how we knew they worked on the Wii U, it was actually the 3DS that caused the limitation.
Yeah, so that's a given.
Yeah. And it's possible we might see like Pichu and then some of the other characters kind of reappear.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, everyone's kind of from the start, before the Switch even came out, kind of been hoping that we would have a GameCube emulator.
Mm-hmm.
I could maybe even see them doing it as possibly having some kind of a Melee HD remake concept, and kind of bringing it up to the at least graphical design. I do hope if they do something like that, though, they do try to leave the engine intact as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that's not going to be good. But it is possible something like that could even be what the cause is from this.
Yeah. Honestly, I could go either or for a new one or a Melee remaster. It's either or at this point. Because I feel like we're just going to get a Smash thing on Switch soon-ish. It just kind of depends on if it's one of those two, because I don't think we're getting the new one.
I'm kind of more leaning to we're going to get Smash for Switch. And it's going to get the deluxe treatment like Mario Kart 8 did.
Alright. Shall we talk about releases?
I guess we shall.
Well, this is weird because I'm going from Sunday to Saturday now, since we're moving the show to Saturday.
Yep.
So, starting on the 20th, we have Battle Chef Brigade for Switch and PC, and Lumo for Switch. On the 21st, we have Farming Simulator 15 Platinum Hits for the 360, Axiom Verge Multiverse Edition for PlayStation 4, Switch, Vita, and Switch, Monster of the Deep Final Fantasy 15 for PlayStation 4. That is the VR fishing game for 15, for those that don't know, because Square Enix is trying really hard to make 15 the next big thing for them. Like, guess who's getting a guest fighter spot in the new Tekken? Noctis! Not Lightning, not Cloud, but Noctis.
So what I'm understanding here is we're pretty much gonna give 15 the 13 treatment.
Yeah, I think Noctis is gonna be the new face of the Final Fantasy franchise instead of Lightning. Which is really weird because we've just went from the first big new Final Fantasy to the next big new Final Fantasy in terms of who's the face of the franchise.
Well, and it kind of looks like, they're not doing the 13 thing with 15, except for they are, because Monster of the Deep sounds an awful lot like Lightning Returns.
Well, that's not the only thing, because, well, here's the thing. 15 already has more extra material than 13 ever fucking had at this point. Before Monster of the Deep.
Well,
between all the expansions, the animes, the movies, all the other stuff 15's gotten, yeah, it's already dwarfed 13 in terms of the amount of spin-off material.
well, to be fair, it doesn't help that 15 is, from what I'm understanding, a better game than 13. But
Still not that good.
oh no,
Kind
but
of.
I mean, still better than 13.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what counts.
Continuing on, we have Project Nimbus Code Mirai for PlayStation 4, The Impatient for PlayStation 4, Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack, which is Azure Striker Gunvolt 1 and 2 for Switch, Dead Synchronicity for Tomorrow Comes Today for Switch, Gear Club Unlimited for Switch, MXGP3, the official motocross video game for Switch, Rhyme for Switch, Super Beat Sonic for Switch, Unibox Newbie's Adventure for Switch, Earn Limited for Switch, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney for 3DS, and River City Rival Showdown for 3DS. That is a shit ton of Switch and 3DS titles on one day. Good lord. I think it's a whole bunch of eShop stuff. I know Apollo Justice is eShop.
And not to mention, it's all on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's typically when the eShop gets its big updates.
Yep.
So
on the 22nd, Assassin's Creed Origins Trial of the Gods DLC for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. On the 23rd, ACA Neo Gear Soccer Brawl for Switch, Kid Trip Run for Switch, Letter Quest Remastered for Switch, Mantis Burn Racing for Switch, Stick It to the Man for Switch, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Explorers Edition for Switch. I assume that's all the DLC for Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure on this one.
I think it is, if I'm remembering right.
Transcripted for Switch and Worms WND for Switch. I think that's the most current Worms game. Yes. On the 24th, we have Crimson Land for Switch. On the 28th, we have Black Mirror for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Radial G Racing Revolve for PlayStation 4. Skyforce Reloaded for PlayStation 4. VR Carts for PlayStation 4. Resident Evil Revelations Collections, which is Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 for Switch. On the 30th, got ahead of myself. We have Starghost for Switch and Siberia 2 for Switch. And on the 1st, which is one day before we actually get to sit down and stream, it's Blue Angels Aerobatic Flight Simulator for Xbox One, Skyforce Reloaded for Xbox One, Soma for Xbox One, Doom VFR for PlayStation 4 and PC, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for Switch. I am really tempted to maybe get Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I have too many JRPGs already. I have too many RPGs in general. Fuck. But that's going to move us into quick draws, and I just shake my head at this. I was informed of this by my mom yesterday when she was listening to the radio that James Franco is going to be in a Marvel movie. She didn't tell me which Marvel movie because she didn't know, and I looked into it, and I saw an article that said he was going to be Multiple Man in a Multiple Man movie. So here we are with Fox doing a Multiple Man movie starring James Franco.
Well, I mean, that lets them hold the rights, correct?
They're already doing other Marvel or other X-Men movies.
Right, but if this works out, then they can do a Multiple Man too.
Who wants a Multiple Man movie to start with?
Or they could also get a little creative, and instead of Multiple Man 2, it could be Multiple Man 2 the Multiple. Oh god, I might have just gave them an idea.
Yeah. For those that don't know who the fuck Multiple Man is, Multiple Man is a guy who can multiply himself. That's the short and long here. Otherwise, he's an obscure X-Men character. Literally, I had this conversation with him. I was like, of all the characters you could do solo films with, like X-23 and Logan, people really like X-23. Not going to do anything with her. Psylocke, outside of the fact that Apocalypse was kind of bad. probably a good solo film material there. Mystique, probably good solo film material there. Fucking any X-Men, including Wolverine, good solo film material. Multiple Man, who? Like, I think Fox is going, they made that Guardians of the Galaxy movie work and no one knew who the fuck the Guardians of the Galaxy were. We can do that same thing with Multiple Man, right?
Right? Anyone?
This makes me go, oh, right, they also have that New Mutants movie that is a movie. Yes, that's another movie they're doing, and it also looks stupid. But yeah, I could have talked about the another ending trailer and synopsis stuff we got, but we're still a ways out from that, and I'd rather talk about that when we actually can talk about another ending, because we'll have something to talk about. Because the trailer's not subbed, unfortunately. So, yep. Anyway, tell me, what is your quick draw?
Mine's actually about something that I'm going to be a part of tomorrow, so...
Yay!
It is a speedrun tournament. It's kind of in the same kind of mindset as GDQs go, but it is fighting game focused. And I will be in a race with another person in the ARMS community at 7:35 my time, Central. And then after the race, I'll actually be doing a all classic characters run for ARMS. So there's that, and then there is quite a bit both before and after all of that. So I do see there's a Project M. There's a couple of runs there. Looks like.
Oh wow, the original JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff going there.
You know what I'm surprised, kind of like, it's not here, even though it's in the background image on the stream.
What?
One, there's no Soul Calibur, even though I can spot a few Soul Calibur characters in here. But also none of the original Marvel vs. Capcom, because I see the Jill Valentine in there from the Jill Valentine in her appearance in Marvel vs. Capcom.
It could be too. There wasn't as many people that actually submitted runs for this one as opposed to the last one that was done. And I'm going off of that based off of what I've seen and heard kind of deal. So yeah. That's what that's probably boiling down to there.
Yeah.
But the Discord server for it has several different servers or different rooms for various games, and there is a lot of different people that are on. Like right now, there's 33 different people from various communities that basically makes it look like a rainbow of colors. So, I believe it's one of those that we just didn't have enough people sign up for it for whatever reason.
And now I'm looking through this image and being like, wonder how much stuff I can recognize and spot in here. It's like when it was in con yesterday, and we were going through this thing that showed us like the efficiency of like a Six Sigma system. And essentially you had a piece of paper with all of these numbers and various fonts and sizes on them, and you had to mark out the numbers in order. You know what I started to do after we were done with everything?
What?
Try to figure out how many different fonts were used in this image. I counted 7.
Oh, wow.
I was literally that bored by the end of it that I'm like, how many fonts are in here? Oh, 7. That I can tell. There might have been a couple more. So now I'm sitting here going, how many games are represented here? Because I can see Guilty Gear. I can see at least 2 to 3 iterations of Marvel vs. Capcom, Tekken, Soul Calibur, King of Fighters. That might be. Is that Tatsunoko versus Capcom? The Mega Man Legends Mega Man on the right? That might be from Tatsunoko versus Capcom. Dead or Alive. Darkstalkers, technically with BB in there. There's probably something in here. Anyway, I need to look away from this. Because I'm liable to just go there and spend the entire time there trying to figure all that out. But yeah, I might be up to catch that. Granted, I sleep in on the weekends. Because, I don't get the opportunity to do that on a weekday because I have to be up I get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning every day on a weekday.
Completely understandable. With the way my work schedule is, my weekends kind of are now consisting of Sundays and Mondays, so. And it's one of those, I had already done all of this before I got my new work schedule, so I'm kind of glad that I did wind up with Sundays off. Because that might not have wound up happening, and then I probably wouldn't have been able to have done this at all. But
yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I'm not doing this to try to get my name out there or anything. I'm doing it more because of the fact of I like speedrunning the game, and sure, if it'll get the game out in someone else's mind, I'll do something to do it. To get that to happen, that is perfectly fine by me. That is definitely one of those too that I'm debating on if I can get everything squared away, possibly submitting something for SGDQ next year. What? I don't know yet, but I'll cross that bridge when it comes. But yep, I guess if you ain't got anything else, we'll go ahead and work on ending out.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, did you see the Ruby episode from today? Nope. Okay, there's a really sweet moment at the end.
Yeah, that's one of those I meant to check it after I got off, but I forgot.
Yeah, there's a really sweet and beautiful moment at the end. Not gonna say what, but
yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah.
And just in case anyone's in chat and is tempted to do it, you spoil, I ban.
No, I'll ban because I don't want to ruin the moment for you because I went in blind on it and it was like, oh my god, damn it, all the feels with this volume of Ruby, Jesus. All I'm gonna say is, yeah, this is why we needed Volume 4 like it is to make this volume with the right kind of feels for this kind of stuff. Yeah, the Crossy's introduction in build is cool, and no, that's not even the correct thing here.
I do have to give you an A for effort, though.
Yeah, Cross's introduction and build this week is good.
It definitely looks like Cross's introduction and build is going to be something very good. But I have been waiting on build with subs, and actually, since I figured out, thanks to them actually putting a title card in, who's actually doing the subs that are going up earliest, I've actually went ahead and followed their WordPress so that I can just download it as I'm going.
Who's doing it?
It is GimCorp.
Oh, the guys who are actually doing the translations for the Fudo, the double manga that haven't put out the last couple chapters yet.
Apparently because they're focused on build.
Why can't I have both in my life right now?
But yeah, it was one of those that when they actually went ahead and made a title card for it and put it in there, I was like, oh, so that's who's doing it. Well, I'm going to go follow.
Yeah. I got a bookmark because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm following you because like I'm waiting on you to put out new things for the double manga, and you're not at all. What the fuck?
It does look like they've also got a download link because I do know you can't torrent at the college, so.
Honestly, I have like Kiss Asian like notify me by email whenever a new episode gets put out. So
I started getting tired of fighting with ad blocker because it was one of those you'd have to turn ad blocker on to get rid of the ads, but when you did that, then sometimes the video would try to say you can't do that with ad blocker, and it's like, no, I don't want the ads.
Yeah, usually when I wake up on Sunday, it's up there, so I can just turn that on and watch.
Yeah, they've been really quick on it, and I'm hoping that doesn't change. Because I know in the past we've had some really fast subs, and then it just die out on us.
Yeah. Yeah, build is being really good, and one person on Token Nation was worried that we're not going to have Crossy and Build fighting together next episode, even though if you watch the preview close enough, Build and Cross are fighting together in the preview. So I guess Sento builds another build driver between episodes or at the start of the next episode. Which I'm not surprised because it's like he literally, like, if Genom can literally just go boop, X8's original driver is fixed literally off screen in a quarter of a second, I think Sento can build another build driver, especially considering how quick he is about building weapons for each of the forms that he's done. Like, I'm sure he can build another build driver really fast.
Oh, okay.
Also, I
need to fix that then.
What?
Apparently the chat stuff is not set up like I was wanting it, so I gotta monkey with that.
Oh, and I think Cross's Rider Kick is supposed to be a Ryuki reference, although his is better than Ryuki because it doesn't take forever. You know how in the preview the dragon shows up behind Cross?
Yeah.
Okay, essentially his Rider Kick goes, dragon shows up, dragon shoots fireball, and Cross rides that for the kick. Which is pretty cool. And also his entire fight scene, half his fight scene is that. Because he takes out the monster with the Rider Kick, and then proceeds to kick the shit out of Night Rouge with the new sword.
Also, don't mind me, I'm monkeying with settings here.
I do have to wonder how long we're going to get this form of Crossy, since he is going to swap out to the new driver at the start of, like, sometime next year. It'll be a shame, but it might be one of those Zengetsu Shinsegetsu situations where we're swapping out to the newer form to promote the new belt.
Yeah. That definitely feels like what it's probably doing there. Okay.
Which is a shame, because I kind of like Cross's suit as is. Which, I'm not sure if the blue on the suit's supposed to be a more bluish purple than a blue. When I was messing around in Photoshop with the form, with the color selector, it was coming out more bluish purple all around where I was clicking. But I know at least 2 different images show one more blue and one with some purple in it. When I was looking around for suit shots or shots of the suit. So, I think some purple's supposed to be in there, I think.
Well then.
Yeah. Also, just to let you know, Sento still does not have all his full bottles back at the end of this episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when we're getting Pirate Russia next week, that's literally the only form he's going to have access to. Because, Cross has to use the Dragon Full bottle, which Build only has Dragon and Lock at the moment. He had all of his other full bottles, including, like, Rabid Tank, stolen from him. So he doesn't even have his base form. Which feels really weird, because it's like, yeah, we're not going to get Rabid Tank for a while. Literally because Sento doesn't have access to it.
Yeah, that is kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't think we've actually had that happen for a while now.
Yeah.
Like, typically the rider always has had at least the base form to fall back on, and so that's definitely kind of odd.
Yeah, literally Build has nothing to fall back on. Because, like, throughout the episode, he keeps having to use Dragon Lock, even though it times out on him, kind of. Like, he can't stay in the form long enough because of some compatibility issue with the Dragon Full bottle. But he keeps having to do it because it's the literal only form he has. So, like, no Rabbit Tank, no Hawk Gatling, no Gorilla Diamond, no Lion Cleaner, no... Fuck, what else does he have by now? Nin Comic. I think that's all of them.
I think it
Yeah, he
is.
literally has none of them. So we're kind of stuck with Pirate Russia for now until maybe he gets them all back next episode with Pirate Russia. Since it seems like we're having a big climactic battle with Night Rouge next episode for him. So that's what the preview looks like.
I could see that.
Also, the reporter lady is, I think, the one who bugged the restaurant. I don't know why, though. Also, still no sign of owner. He may or may not be Bloodstark at this point. I don't know. He's been missing for quite a few episodes, and no one seems to have noticed.
That's what's kind of made me feel like he might be. Because it also seems very convenient that he found Sento. And that he was also the same person that stole the rider belt.
And the full bottles.
And the piece of the Pandora's box. Like, something don't seem right.
And the name he literally gave Sento translates to Rabid Tank.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, something's up here. Which, I mean, granted, that would kind of explain his attitude kind of deal. Because it's one of those, he does kind of know what we've got going on from both sides. And like I said, it kind of actually stands out a little more to me, and we talked about this the last time too, because of the line about the data, about how Sento is more than capable of being able to use the data. It's like, wait. How do you know that?
Also, Bloodstark knew where the real data was.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he followed them there. Or did he? And he's constantly getting in Night Rouge's way. He's still getting in Night Rouge's way in this episode. And I'm like, okay, at a certain point, you're not letting them get away because they need to keep doing things. You're letting them get away because you want to let them get away.
I don't think it's necessarily he wants to let them get away. It's a case of he wants to see if they can get to the point where they can use their own power, kind of deal. Another thing that kind of is making me curious about that as well, the fact that it didn't confuse him when Sento was explaining about how the different hazard levels worked. The fact that he instead was actually kind of having an attitude where he was like, okay, so you are figuring this out. That's the other thing that's making me like, wait, you know a lot more than you're letting on. And I almost feel like he might be the reason why they're getting so far is because it's like, you know, I'm going to kind of play a game. I want to see if they can figure this out.
I will say, build is being good, and I'm really happy that we have a good writer right now. Just hope build just doesn't go off the rails. Which
I don't think it can at the moment.
Yeah. In the background, I've had this Heisei Phase 2 music video, and parts of it have final forms for each of the main writers shown off, and for O's it does Super Tato Ba. And the only reason it does that is because the guy forgot about Putotera. And it makes me go, oh yeah, I have that series of articles I'm wanting to write. That's my recommendation for the Heisei era stuff, since Heisei Generation Final is coming out. And also, hey, I could probably do a final form discussions about at least the Neo Heisei guys. From like Double onward, because I've seen all of those shows enough to talk about those. Or at least enough of Ghost to talk about how Mugen makes no sense because Mugen literally comes out of nowhere.
Literally.
And has no basis in the show. And has only my assumption on what it's supposed to be in the context of the story.
And to this, I say that's probably the only assumption of what it is in the context of the story, because I don't even think the writers understood the context of the story.
Yeah. But like, I could do an article talking about like what I consider a final form, because okay, here's my opinion on final forms for main writers and secondary writers. It can be whatever you want it to be as long as you have some good justifications for it.
Makes sense.
You can say for like Cyclone Joker that it's either extreme or gold extreme. You can go either or, in my opinion. Fang Joker, maybe not so much in my opinion, but hey, if you can justify it, that's fine. Like, I don't think final forms are set in stone, especially with several of the newer shows getting expanded material that introduce new forms past the quote-unquote final form.
But I think at that point, and this is kind of just my opinion thrown out there, I feel like when you're looking at what should be final form, that should focus more on the show storyline, because we have actually had so many adaptations of final forms come out of the extra content and movies. So it's one of those that I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like final form should be at least designated to show.
Yeah. especially when, let's see, for as an example, Mock, like talking about what his final form would be is like, what is it? Which shared power up do you count here? And do you technically count the one from his solo or his Gaiden film? Because it's technically the exact same one that's in the show, just a different paint job.
Truthfully, I kind of feel like his ultimately would be Dead Heat.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see where it could go other ways too, kind of deal.
Yeah. You could go with either Chaser Mock form.
Yeah.
Or Mock Chaser form.
Yeah. But it's one of those that I kind of feel like by the time it's said and done, you probably would have to count Dead Heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for secondary forms, it gets really tricky because most of the time they only get the one form, but sometimes they get a second form, but sometimes that second form isn't really that good, and it's connected to some bad material that isn't that quite explained, and yeah, I'm looking at you, Spectre, with your Mugen knockoff Sin Spectre from that really bad movie. Okay, Spectre Rebirth is bad. It's bad. Do not watch it. Yeah, it makes me want to do like a final form for at least the main writers. For secondary writers, it's really tricky because you also have Birth with, I think it's Rebirth or not. No, not Rebirth. Rebirth is an SIC only thing that I think is a way better final form than Birthday, which is just Birth with all of his claw weapons equipped. But yeah, that's 4 things I need to write. Well, 3.5 things need to write because I have like part of the first one of the recommendations written. I think I'm at 5s. And I think the problem I'm having of going back to it is just like, I didn't watch that much of 5s. I watched the book the Hibiki, but it's been a long time. We've watched a good bit of Kabuto, but I hate it with every fiber of my being. So
Yeah.
my recommendation is never watch this god awful piece of shit show, even though some people swear by it.
Yeah, and you, of all people, decided to keep going after we all had stopped.
Yeah, I watched like 2 extra episodes. Just I don't know. And it was it's still bad. Dino, I watched a good bit of, but it's been a long time. Kiva, I watched a bit of, and I didn't like what I watched, and it's mostly because half the show spoiled the other half for itself. I don't understand that. Like, how can a show spoil its own twists? Like, just think about that for a second.
Honestly, to be fair, we might be running into that same issue right now. If you think about it, because Build has kind of had too many open signs to things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those that I'm hoping they did that on purpose. But if they didn't and they try to make that this big, oh, well, you'll never guess who this is, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, we kind of did already.
Well, that's kind of the thing with Kiva. Like, okay, there's an episode in Kiva where Wataru, the main character, is taken over by the spirit of his dad. And it's this big mystery about who's taken over Wataru's body for this episode. And he announces, like, I'm Wataru's father. Except you know it's Wataru's father because he acts exactly like Wataru's father. Because I think this is at like 10 episodes into the show. And half of those episodes, and like half the runtime of all those episodes, you're following Wataru's father in the past. So you know exactly how he acts. And Wataru's father, and this guy's acting exactly like Wataru's father. Mannerisms and all. And it's just like, and you have an episode that ends with him declaring this, and it's like, why are you acting like this is some big surprise? It's not. This is literally not surprising. What? And that happens all the time in Kiva, and I don't understand it. It's like we spend way too much time in the past in these episodes. And it spoils half the fun of the show. See, Decade, I'm probably less angry on than most people are.
Decade
And then,
more
like,
kind of drug on longer than it should have was its issue.
Yeah, it should have ended at the Dark Rider arc and then went into All Riders and just stopped. There was no reason for the Black RX or Amazon arcs. There was no reason for the final arcs to try to wrap up the show and didn't. And it took like a third of a movie to try and still failed. Which is why I say Decade's got like 3 endings and like only the first one's good. And then like Double Onward is easy enough to talk about because I can still remember from Double Onward because those have all been recent enough. But it's like, what do I say about Fies, considering I watched like a handful of episodes to start with and just didn't care for it because I still had the taste of Kabuto in my mouth and then just like, no. And then Blade I watched the entire thing of, but I didn't really care for Blade. I thought its ending felt a bit forced. Like, I kind of liked the ending, but it still felt like a forced ending. Blade needed a little bit of work, to be honest. But I might just sit down and write those over like Thanksgiving break after I get done with this economy project I'm supposed to be getting done over Thanksgiving break because I have to go home and get some stuff for it. Yay, doing stuff over Thanksgiving break instead of relaxing. That's what I get for having like 2 projects assigned to me that need to be done before after Thanksgiving break. Yeah, once I have those written and checked out, those might be going out over like December. Like every couple days in December, I might throw a new one on the site. But I'm just gonna throw it out there for folks who maybe have listened to us talk about Rider or watched any of our TGSR episodes where we watched Rider and went like, "What is this franchise and where should I start?" And like, here's my opinions on like every single Heisei show. Pick one based off my recommendations, or not. Just pick one because here's information on all of them, and just go watch. You start somewhere. I think this is the biggest thing I want to say for someone who wants to get into this franchise. Just start somewhere. It's okay if you start on a bad show. Just know that there are good shows. Hopefully. Hopefully for you, there's at least a good show in here somewhere. Just pick a show and start. If you don't like it, move on. There's plenty of more to choose from. Anyway, I'm good. I'm ready to end. If you are.
Yep.
All right. In 2 weeks, we'll be back once more talking new stuff. And in between, I'll be streaming RE4 and variety stuff, most likely. I still haven't pinned down the Thursday game just yet.
And I'm working on a few things, so I might be dual streaming at some point. I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Anyway, check out the site, in the YouTube, in the Twitter for updates and videos and stuff. And we will see you in 2 weeks, folks.